Hello lovelies, today's review is Season 3, Episode 10 of Cartoon Drag Race Philippines. Spoiler alert for that episode and previous episodes. Any leaks of is our thanks for the viewers and fans like you. Thank you. To begin with, like always, let's start with the drama room. The drama room wasn't necessarily dramaing, it was more so like there was no fights. It's more like the aftermath of the previous episode. It's painful to talk about it because my girl Marina is having a hard time. Like, she's ashamed that she does lip syncs. It doesn't, to me, what kind of bothers me is like I understand her perspective that she doesn't want to be known as just a lip syncer. I understand that, but at the same time, she is the it girl, she is that girl. And I really love that Reiki is that boy and Harmony is that girl. I love Harmony passing those gummies like it's Halloween, Easter, and Christmas. And like I won't lie, like I rolled my eyes slightly and I'm like, oh no, Keaton being insecure, Reiki, oh no. And my favorite question of the day was everyone was asking what they were hoping for, what they want as a final challenge. And I won't lie, when Harmony says she wants to perform, I kept thinking she was feeling her oats. It's kind of hard to talk about what's going on currently because I keep thinking about Marina as the grandma that got run over by a reindeer. Like, she got hit by a reindeer, by a truck, by a train, by a snowball, a really big one, and by me. Like, I get kind of frustrated because Mother keeps putting Marina down to the point where it's like bullying, and it kind of frustrates me. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then the roommate appears. Girl, at first it was cute with Len being pissed off with Senora and Lenny's lip sync. Like, girl, best day ever. Like get SpongeBob. We need the milk and cookies in this episode because, girl, that was the best day ever in my life. I was living. But oh my god, when I tell you I gagged, I'm not kidding you. When I heard Len say there'll be only 2 winners and 3 bottom hoes, gagged to the end of time and beyond excited. Girl, all the girls were gagged. They couldn't say anything. It took them a few minutes to gather themselves up and then separate. Ain't gonna lie, I'm so glad we still have Reiki because it's been such a long time when we heard his last misquote, like playing with your flutes. Oh my god, I forgot Reiki is that type of person to think soy milk is Spanish for I am milk. And it's just like, when Keaton has to talk to him like a mother and say it's shaking in your boots, Reiki's first reaction is just face planting on the table and sighing. Girl, beyond hilarious. I love my boy so much. Don't ever change, please. And you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you, he's kind of shady, but how the hell did he list everyone like being a good performer but Harmony? Like, how dare he? Is he a shady minx? Because like, how dare he does that, like how dare he does that? Like bruh, like how dare you like pick everyone but Harmony? Like, who would do that? I swear to god, like for real, who the hell would say such a thing? And then Keaton is next to him bragging, oh my god, like, oh my god, look at him, look at me, I'm so good at this. Girl, you don't know this because like I'm so good at it. Like, girl, I'm a good lip syncer, I know how to write a remix, I know how to perform, like hashtag I'm that diva. And then he goes to the confessional room, like kicking down Marina. Like, girl, he prayed, he was happy that Marina got her ankle sprained. Like, girl, like Bun, yeah, I'm speaking to you for a moment. I'm sorry to break the fourth wall for a second, but girl, is this your man? Is it the man that you want? Do you see what he did there? Do you accept it? Is that what you want in a man? Oh my god, I can't. And then, ain't gonna lie to you, girl. What is this toxic yaoi? Like, first he's so cruel to fucking Reiki asking for help, and then when Reiki is like a puppy going ooh and all that jazz, like Keaton is like, oh my god, fine, I'll help you. Girl, I was like, no. I was like crying so hard. I was like, what the fuck? Like, in the sense that, oh my god, the man is such a tsundere. I live for it. Like, finally, the girl is stepping up his pussy and like stepping up his bromance. Like, girl, like giving a vivid scene in the confessional, talking about how warm and nice Ricky is. He like reminded me of that one scene from SpongeBob where Patrick is holding that one like strip of bubble gum and he just reads it off. Like, bro was so vivid. Giving me some poetry night. Like, you know what, for that, I ain't gonna lie to you, I can see what he means about being a good writer, because that was some good ass poetry right there. Beautiful, just beautiful. And then we go to Marina, Petra, and Harmony. It's really nice to see the inverse happening with Marina and Harmony, where Marina is getting comfort from Harmony, and it's so hard to see Harmony struggle to make Marina happy. Like when Marina is, you know, at her limit and she feels so down within the competition that she has to leave the room and go outside. When Petra grabs Harmony and they have that conversation, it was very nice, because, you know, Petra is not that type of girl that would like sabotage somebody or waste her time with somebody on purpose. In that conversation, it's very hard to see what to do is right. Like, they're at the final 5. Would you go to your friend and spend time away from your roommates? Or do you focus on your roommates but not spend enough time to comfort your friends? And like, I like the complexity with both girls on this situation, where they have like different points of views. And even though I'm not in love with Petra, or I'm as close with her, I like that Harmony felt that she made a friend with her. I feel like that was very genuine, and it's just very sweet to see them interact. I think like if they interacted more, it would have been much more interesting. It would be a different dynamic completely, because Petra has this very stoic nature that I could see be explored later on, honestly. And like, Marina's like crying, and I'm like, get away from Keaton. Like, Keaton, get the hell out of here. Don't be friends. Like, no, don't be friends with bad drag queen. Like, don't be a hashtag bad drag queen friend. I'm sorry, not sorry. But besides my hatred with Keaton, again, I love the inverse, where it's Keaton who is taking care of Marina, like how she took care of him last week. Like, Keaton coming to help her and being inspiring. How commendable. I hope it's enough. When I was watching it, I really did hope it was enough for her to get into the game, because yeah, this drama room, it wasn't like really like, oh my god, it's like so much drama. It's just very intense because it's the final 5 and this is the final challenge, so like, it's very intense. It does the job well, honestly. I have no complaints here. Now comes the result, but before that, was there like no budget? Why does Heather have as many lines as if she was in Toontown? She was just sitting there pretty, and it was like, well, you brought the queens of all queens just for like, what, 2 lines? Whatever. Anyways, result time. Mother is censoring the results, and the face I made seeing Keaton up there first and he slayed it, I was ready to throttle. I was so pissed, but at the same time, it is what it is. Move aside, bitch. The boy is here. Reiki making on stage his bitch and pissing on the floor. We love you, Reiki. You're my boy. You're my boy. Petra slaying is good for her, and like, that's enough said. You know, it's just, you know, it is what it is, you know, like, good for her, I suppose. But in all honesty, glad that she got to perform in her native language. I love that a lot. Good for her. And like, yeah, she slayed it. Good for her, honestly. I kept thinking everyone was slaying Shirley. Marina and Harmony would too, right? God fucking damn it. I was like, not my girl. I was like, not Harmony and not Marina. And now we got the positions for the runways in one go, and there's no confessionals, and I'm like going, why? Like, what the fuck? And it's like, girl, I would say it was going fast a little bit. I was like, why is it going so fast? And it's like, then girl, oh my god, oh my fucking god, they asked this question 3 times. Like, goddamn. First it was reusing paper, arson storyline, and costumes. Now it's who should go home tonight and why. This is the 3rd time, okay? Like, girl, like, what is this freaking
storyline? Is Rin like just saying I want drama? Is Rin saying this is my catchphrase from now on? Is that what it is? I feel like that's what it is. It's funny as hell. It really is. But anyways, everyone was awkward and they felt bad. Like, oh my god, why did Petra and Marina go after like Harmony, my girl? Like, this was less okay than Keaton because Keaton was being in character. I mean, his character is throwing people under the bus. Are we shocked? I don't think so. No. When it was Ricky's turn, I was like, yeah, Ricky, you are so right. I didn't connect with Petra at all. Like, Petra did not connect with the audience. Like, I felt that very honestly. And damn, like, Rin wants that Emmy so bad. Like, girl, girl, she's like, I'm like, damn, Rin. Like, damn. Like, I love the fact she's adding, how does it feel that 3 of your sisters say you should go home, Harmony? How does that feel? She's like being like Dr. Phil, like very toxic. Ain't gonna lie to you. Like, she really did that. Like, girl, like, damn. And what I like about Harmony's response is just very Harmony. She's very calm. She's not very malicious. And I just find it like, girl, how she stayed so calm, honestly. But with that, the top 2 were chosen. And it was my boy, Reiki. I was screaming. I was like, I was so happy because Reiki, girl, he deserved this. He really did. And Petra, like, girl, go for her too somewhat. Like, less than Reiki, but, you know, go for her too, I guess. And like, okay, so I thought, okay, so it's gonna be a 3 bottom lip sync, right? That's what it is. That's the gag of it. Girl, nah. Rin Immunity Idol is back, and Rin is like, you ain't got get no time. You ain't gonna get no break. You ain't gonna get 5 minutes. That's what she said. She's like, your break is cut. You're gonna pick now and choose now. And girl, and it had to be Petra and Reiki because they won, and each one picks one person to be in the lip sync. I was gooped and gagged. And like, what I find it so good, it was some dramatic irony, some good ass TV, was Petra being a hypocrite. And my favorite part is, like, she was like, oh, I'm not gonna play this game. I'm never gonna play this game. Girl finally playing the game and getting her hands dirty. Girl was making me, like, both shaking my head and be like, girl, you know what? I respect it. I have to respect it. I live for that. Girl, I have to be honest with you. Reiki, like, I don't know what Len did to make, like, how Reiki felt very genuinely sad. Choosing Keaton over Marina. I'm letting you know, girls, a trigger warning, I might cry, so if I sound different, that is why. Girl, when it was Marina versus Harmony, girl, tears were like in my eyes almost, and I was working, girl. I was just fixing stuff, and it was like the it girl versus the kooky airheaded girly, and I was like, I don't know who to root for. I want to root for my it girl who was there since the beginning, the one person I felt in love with since the beginning, or, you know, the Harmony, like one of the few girls that I felt like inspired drag, like I felt like was taking chances with drag, and like I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, girl, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but I really this is how I feel about it. I almost looked away. I held my breath. Marina is like saying I have to be there, and Harmony is like just trembling in with her legs, like all shaky and everything. It wasn't until Len says, Harmony, Shantae, you stay. Girl, I can finally breathe. Marina sobbing Marina was obviously holding back tears. It was so, like, girl, she couldn't even say goodbye in like a sassy, cheeky way at all. You have no idea how badly I wanted Marina to be there in the final. So bad. You don't know, because she worked so hard. And her exit line, it was just her saying goodbye, you know? I love her so much. She is the diva. And you know what? I'll see you in the reunion, girl. I'll see you in the reunion, okay? I'll see you there, okay?
Oh, yeah.
With that, I exhaled. It was over, and like, I'm up for the next challenge, the next episode. I just couldn't wait. But girl, it was a fucking lie. Len was like, check the timestamp. You got 5 minutes. There's your 5 minutes from last time. Like 1 more minute than the last time, girl. I was gooped and gagged. And then, you know what pissed me off the most? Keaton gets an advantage. Len, you bitch. Like, I have to say it, you bitch. You just want a rise out of me. So everyone is going to lip sync. I was so gooped. Harmony literally lip synced her bestie away. Like, let her rest. But damn, Keaton finally playing the game. Like, he was playing the game somewhat, but now he has to get his hands dirty. And he has to take a risk and doing something finally. Like, he's doing something in the competition, finally. Because Ricky was carrying this alliance. Let's be real, like, Ricky was doing something. A lot, like, by something, I mean a whole lot. I know somebody out there is having his best fantasy that came alive, you know? Because it's like, I know my best friend, my bestie, has their camera out. And it's like, and I'm here, like, shaking my head as, like, the men are feeling their oats to this lip sync. I just know my bestie has the camera recording. I just know it. And it's just like, girl, so homosexual energy. We live for that. And, you know, Keaton's risk paid off. Like, he's the bigger slut. Good for him, you know? And, like, at least he said it. He's the bigger slut. Shocker, I know. Like, damn, okay. But not gonna lie, my boy is in danger. But I was worried for him for a second. But being honest with you, he is smart. Boy was thinking his moves carefully, like chess, girl, like carefully thinking for Petra and Harmony. And I won't lie to you. I think Ricky watches Big Brother or something, because he was still playing the game. Like, he was playing it like, which one do I choose? Like, he was playing it so hard. He chose the song, and with that, off they went. It was Petra versus Harmony. I was holding my breath. You know, I was holding my breath. Petra was saying, girl, I can take Harmony on. I can beat her. Like, girl, I can eat her up. I can eat her for, like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and have a snack too, bitch. Girl, Harmony won with ease. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, Petra undermining Harmony. At this point, girl made a choice in life. So I'm glad my girl made it through. And now came the last two. It's so ironic, isn't it? You know, it's very ironic. It's Petra, and the other side is Reiki. And can we appreciate Petra saying that Harmony was a threat and not Keaton, as she should? Like, I just want to point that out for a second. I just want to say that for a second. And basically, this match was close because it was basically someone who was low once versus someone who was lip syncing twice. And this is their third time. Honestly, the judging could have gone either way, even if Ricky did a good job and Petra did bad. So I held my breath. I was like praying to Sasha Colby. And the winner of the final lip sync was Reiki, sending another diva packing. Like, girl said, oh my God, he sent Petra out of here. And like I said in the Discord, not Petra, girl, not Petra. And with that, Petra is eliminated. I don't really hate Petra. On the contrary, I think she's fierce. It was when she started to undermine the others, that's when she lost me. Especially when she didn't have strong connections with the others. I had a gut feeling she would get chopped, and chopped she did. I'm thinking that hopefully All Stars will be her moment to win. I could really see that. And with that, see you in the reunion, Petra. And you know what? Keep being fierce. Just be you, girl. And the ending of the episode is finally here. And yeah, it's basically who's gonna win this, Reiki, Harmony, or Keaton. That's basically the last question. Who's gonna win this? Who's gonna take the crown, you know? And like Len asked, you know, what team are we in? You know, that was the last question he asked. And before I answer that, I think it's time to analyze the two divas that were eliminated. Just like before, our two questions are, what was the point of Marina and how did she make me feel? For Marina, I think her point was she's the girl that quote unquote cracked the code and figured it out. I felt from the beginning she was a contender, but she was very cocky. It was very apparent as she predicted everyone coming in and just missing Reiki. The subtle shade of her dismissing Reiki was
very apparent in retrospect. We see her perform very well in the first 2 challenges, and more so we see her stroke her ego. It came ahead when she was being a bit too calm at the idea of being voted to lip sync, even to the point of naively trusting Lilac, and clearly he was ready to backstab her and she was caught off guard. And if I'm being honest with you, there is also like the ego with her talking over people. Like, remember with Ruby, she basically chose the role for her. She did choose Ruby's role, and let's be real, she did harm Ruby in that sense. And then when you look at her performance, she took a risk, which, you know, that's normal in Drag Race, but she felt a bit too comfortable with it in a way. Like, it felt like she didn't understand the judges' critiques, which, like, most agree that she wasn't the worst, but also, like, it felt kind of like she was having a little tantrum. When I interpret it again, I feel like she had like a slight tantrum. That's how I felt about her. And, you know, like I mentioned before with Lilac betrays her completely, and the votes were against her, and it was her against Beast Boy. And, you know, at first she just like took this with stride. She's like, yeah, I'm a big threat, I know that, and she took it with no issue. And, you know, she showed us firsthand why she had no issues, why she's the it girl. And being real with you, it showed her ego. Like, she did have a big ego with the whole story. She felt the stage was her playground, and she was making the rules. When it came to the episode of Snatch Game, we could see her look like Aaliyah interlude, but she wasn't funny. She was relying on charisma. She was relying on her personality. She didn't take a risk this time. And, like, even I felt that. I'm like, that's interesting. She felt very safe overall. And she was bad, like Ruby, Lilac, and Skyla. But sadly, Drag Race is unpredictable. So, on the bottom, remember, it's Skyla, Keaton, and Marina. Girl, there was a moment where the fucking pardon appears in the sense that, like, Skyla betrays Marina and hurts her. And this is the point where Marina's attitude shifted and doubt started to set. Her eyes were being wide open, and her heart that was open to others was being crushed. With the deliberations, with the voting over, she was in the bottom with Skyla, and she was venting on stage. Again, very nice foreshadowing as well, because later on we can see that this venting becomes an issue. Like, I remember Len saying that Marina only won 4 lip syncs, but no, girl, she won 5. She won this lip sync. Like, clock that T. Like, Len saved Skyla. Like, it was obvious that Marina won that lip sync, hands down. Let's just be real. She was saved by the judges. Nothing less, nothing more. After this lip sync, Marina just is different. Like, she truly is different. She was calling out girlies and was having an attitude change. Like, to start with, she calls out Lilac. And speaking about Lilac's call out, Marina at this point is the inverse of Ricky. They both have the similar track record, and, you know, they're both equals now. They're genuinely equals. And then comes the duel challenge. This is the moment where Marina looks at a reflection of herself, which is Ricky Keegan. They both have the same track record, and she kept undermining him. And that's what kind of I find very interesting with her, is that her ego was showing there. It was showing her how I cannot relate to Ricky. I'm nothing like Ricky. And then when Ricky talks about how she inspires him, how he worked from the bottom up just like her, Marina has a reality check. She snaps out of it. She realized that she was being a bitch. She was being a little bit egotistical, a little bit self-centered. And what I kind of liked afterwards, when even though they don't win this challenge, they go up high. Like, see how they work together, and like they can support each other and be a bigger success in this competition. What I find most admirable in this episode about Marina is that she does defend her friend. For example, she defends Harmony specifically from La Senora and Lenny, but more specifically La Senora, like literally tackling her to the ground. In you know, in that moment, you notice that she still has some sweetness left in her. She hasn't gone to the deep end of being sad, angry, and frustrated. And then
like, she celebrates because, La Senora and Lenny get both eliminated at the same time, which is like great for her. She was very happy about that. And then what I kind of like is the roast challenge next. This is the part where their relationship gets really close and there's no more immunity idol. And what I kind of like a lot is that I kind of find it funny, like I kept dogpiling on Marina that, yeah, she kind of has a big ego when Ricky confesses that, he sabotaged her and threw her under the bus on Snatch Game. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to her. Like, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe the guy says in the gag did that move. Like, she was laughing nonstop. She's pissed, of course, but like, girl, she got played and she respects it in that way, She was still underestimating her competition, and I kind of love that. And even when, like, just like a little bit of heads up, like, even when she meets Victory Belt, like, there's little sprinkles of her undermining people. And, even though when she gets called out yet again, because Victory Belt is a fan and she was always there supporting her, I like to interpret it as her making it up to the houseplant by letting her style both of them. And again, this is a problem similar to the Rusical episode where Marina didn't think ahead. And here it was shown with her being on the bottom. It's still a reminder that she still has more to grow and be a better queen. And like, I feel like one of the things with Marina is that she still feels too comfortable. I think that's like the other thing I keep noticing, that she's so comfortable with the competition. It's not until the next episode when Len literally on the room mail eggs on Marina and her pretty bad track record. And it really showed how even in her element, she couldn't pass her standard. She's a host after all, and she couldn't claw her way out of this time. And it at this point, it was her boiling point. She was cracked, she was pissed, she was frustrated. She demolished Lilac, and she didn't even enjoy that, rather rushing to her room and breaking down. Like, the subtlety of her just wanting to get out of the bottom or just making it to the finale and not even winning is very disheartening to watch. Like, she has moved the goalpost because she knows better, She truly does know better at this point. And she's not deluding herself. She's truly exhausted at this point, and even injuring herself to the next episode. Like I mentioned with the Skylar one, with her venting, she used that lip sync to vent her anger, and this time she got, consequences from it. She had an injury now, and that sabotaged her. Unfortunately, that held her back. And both her physical and mental health are at their last breath, their last breaking point. Even the soft, sweet gestures from everyone, it wasn't enough for her. It wasn't enough to her to get into the game. She had to break down again and exit the room and just cry a bit. And I kind of like it. It's very ironic and very endearing that it was Keaton's harsh and tough love that got her through her pity party. Paralleling to the previous episode where Marina was Keaton's shoulder to cry on. It was a very important moment because it was clear that Marina was going to give up. And with that tough love, she got up her ass and gave it her best shot. Like most of the cast, she did great. She did great for what happened, Even with her injury, even with her mental state. And when Miss Rin wanted another twist and asked the shady question, who should go home and why? Honestly, I thought she would, volunteer or pick someone else. But honestly, when she expresses that Harmony should be in the bottom two, it was very harsh and it was so hard to watch, because to add insult to injury, Marina never won a immunity idol, and she was up for elimination 3 times with the idol in play, and she got none of it. And I think that point is interesting because with a girl that connected with a lot of contestants, she didn't deepen those connections enough, and this was her last opportunity to make it to the finale. And this time, all the cards were against her, facing her best friend, someone with a strong track record, and someone who could lip sync the same way as she does. She has the same strength. And Marina gave it her all, like she always does. And sadly, this was her first loss and was sent home. To me, her story was a skilled artist in her element, being too cocky and too comfortable. Very similar to Mimi from season 2.
She thought Drag Race was something you can predict, like the casting list. But once this twist was introduced, and majorly Ricky Kain, her game was shifted to an artist understanding she can predict the game and her frustration to the point of almost giving up. With that, I can finally answer the question, how did Marina make me feel? This question I have put a lot of thought in because Marina arguably is my favorite Drag Race character. In the order from my favorite to my third favorite, my favorite is Marina, Starmie, and Trisha, in that order. I do see myself in her, both the good and the bad, and even now writing and recording, I do get emotional. She is seriously one of the reasons I want to keep watching and maybe do something else. I just do want to say I'm just sorry. I had to keep it up, as I keep my composure. I really love the genuine goodness and upbeat personality that is Marina, and I want to celebrate that she is my favorite character, and I'm truly proud of her leaving her mark on the competition. I truly love Marina, and I cannot wait to see her in an all-star season or even in a spin-off. I am so glad to have experienced this story and get to know an amazing queen just like her. Next is Petra. Petra to me had an interesting run. I felt at certain points she wasn't my winner, but her main weakness is not building strong connections with anyone, arguably. When she walks in episode 1, Skylar shouts out, "We are toast." Episode 1 showed her strength and compatibility of being a designer and seamstress. We also learned that she has a hard time speaking English. Speaking English is not her native language. And of course, the most important thing about her is I'll be judging fairly and not play the game kind of attitude. And in this episode 1 at least, we show how strong she is, how she is as a person. She's very stoic, kind of motherly. And then episode 2, not only did people wanted her in her team, but she showed her softer and maternal side, eating Lenny with his injury, literally ripping her own blouse to help with the injury. Very iconic behavior, honestly. In this episode, there's not much to her, just her not being naive, but also being stern with La Senora. That's how I view it. Episode 2 is just showing that, yeah, she is motherly, she is very strict, very competitive, but she's not stupid at the same time. Episode 3 showed off her willingness to challenge herself and get out of her comfort zone. It showed that she can also have a cutthroat attitude, where truthfully, she threw Lenny to the wolves and took his role. Let's be real, she did that. She could have just stayed quiet. And she knew, even in the confessionals, yeah, I know it's rough, but this is a competition in the end of the day. Snatch Game, of course, was the moment that showed that the issue with her language barrier, this was one of the more, I would say arguably one of her pivotal moments where she's insecure of her language barrier, and is she willing to overcome that? That was pretty much the whole thing with this episode. And yeah, she does overcome it. It was funny, she took a risk, and it paid off. She made the judges laugh, and she figured out how to make it funny in her own way. So there's that. The next episode was showing her weakness and had a pivotal moment, the weakness of her relationships being lacking. When Skylar did not give her a crumb of help, when she just wanted a push, an idea, not do the work, it showed that she didn't nurture the relationships enough, where Skylar couldn't trust her. But also, this was the most infamous moment, I would say, in Petra's run, where La Senora was showing her ignorant ass on full display, undermining Petra, being racist, and just saying she's not a true English speaker because she's not fluent in it. It was just so racist. It was so freaking stupid. And Petra so eloquently put Senora in her place in English, spilling every drop of molten lava and scarring La Senora. This was Petra's peak and climax of her story. because again, her language barrier was one of the biggest insecurities she had. And she told off a racist bitch in a language she could understand with no hesitation and no stuttering. And like I mentioned with the issues of her weakness, which is like not having the best relationships, when it came to the voting, there was still signs to her weakness and barely escaping the bottom by a vote. She tried to remedy this on the next episode, where it was the drag duel challenge, and her motherly instinct was shown again as she tries to console Skyla, both for the challenge but for their friendship. There wasn't much for her in this episode. It was just mostly like just having that exchange and trying to fix that relationship. And then the next sign of adversity that comes for Petra is the comedy roast challenge. And you know what? She's like, I'm putting everything on the line and being the closer for the challenge. I like to interpret this that her chat with Skyla last episode made Skyla interact with Harmony, because I like to interpret that her motherly vibe influenced others. I feel like she had influence, but not enough like relationship wise. And I feel like she influenced Skyla to talk to Harmony and try to fix the issue that was going on. Showing off her small acts of kindness made Skyla help Harmony. There was, of course, when Keaton confided with her, Kaden, and Lilac about Valeria, and this showed her willingness to learn from others, copying Keaton's boldness. Like, she literally chose to be the closer because of how bold Keaton is. And she was rewarded with a long overdue win. It was such a satisfying irony, because remember Monita, all the way back in episode 1, she really was concerned about Petra's language barrier. And look, literally one of the challenges where language barriers are kind of fucked, Petra like overcomes that. For the Project Runway episode, this is where I noticed cracks in her play, and simply put, she didn't have a strong bond with the remaining queens. It didn't help that she started to check like the queens off, like Marina and especially Reiki. I felt at this point she was getting a bit too confident, a bit too comfortable, in contrast with everyone else where they didn't dismiss each other. Maybe arguably Keaton could dismiss each other, but everyone else not really. She's still maintaining her streak of high placements on the cooking challenge. However, I feel like when she's talking about the roller coaster analogy, I think she keeps forgetting that the roller coaster keeps ticking, but I think she undermines the drop. Because I feel like if a roller coaster keeps going up and up and up, you need like one dip to make it more exciting, And then in the final episode, by the final episode, I mean the final episode before the finale, she truly felt Harmony was her only competition. Even being a hypocrite to make Harmony lip sync and not tarnish her track record, but make it a little worse so she can have a higher chance of winning. The irony was delicious. The girl that wanted to play fair, follow the judges' critiques and the track record, threw the current leader under the bus, even though Keaton and Marina should have been chosen. Not because they were less skillful, it was just based on track record and critiques in general. What I loved about the game is that you have to remember, expect the unexpected. Once again, notice how truly the cards were stacked against her, as she undermines Reiki and Harmony in their lip sync abilities. Well, more specifically, Harmony's lip sync ability and Reiki even being close to the finale. Just keep that in mind. What I find interesting in this moment, she took Reiki out from her radar, and that's when her game fell apart. From Reiki choosing their song to her truly believing she could take Harmony when Harmony took out Marina. And like poetry, facing off Reiki. Someone similar, dare I say the same as Marina. Just like the first lip sync of the season, Petra lost her lip sync. It was tense, but honestly, an amazing reveal. Now with her story told, amazing reveal. The irony with just her and Reiki being the first two to lip sync, not together, but like they had the same episode they lip synced. That was awesome. That was like amazing poetry, and then they were the last two to win the challenge, and they had to face each other. Great irony, honestly. I just felt like Petra as a character was just very stoic. That was it for her. She was a very stoic character who was motherly, who wanted to play fair until the end, where I feel like she corrupted her morals, and she wanted to play the game, but she didn't play it soon enough. That's what I feel about her story. That's what it is. With her story told, how did she make me feel? Honestly, I love how dominant she felt, especially in the beginning. But as the competition dwindled, I felt her stoic personality got a bit dull. Not as interesting as Keaton, Reiki, or Harmony. But I really did love how Len made her complex and have her choose winning over her moral, like, oh, I play fair through and through. Honestly, I see her in All Stars, and like, no doubt, I truly cannot wait either for her, because she is a fun character. I feel like it would be interesting in an All Star season. And with that, yeah, I just think she's a pretty neat character, a bit complex, and she has some things to learn, but that's about it. With that, I answered all the questions, I think, right? I answered all of them, right? All but one, right? And if I'm honest with you guys, I think I don't have the ability to answer that question. I feel if I try to analyze specifically Keaton, I'm a little too biased. And if the rumors are true, then I feel like someone better will answer this question, who is more qualified to answer this question. And I have to excuse myself for now and leave you basically hanging, unfortunately, because I cannot answer this question, sadly. For now, thank you for watching the series. Thank you so much for watching this video. And for now, I would say goodbye. Thank you again, everyone. Goodbye. Don't you just hate cliffhangers? I hope you don't mind me taking over for a bit.
Showtime synergy.
Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Head to toe, let your whole body talk. And what?
Welcome to the main stage of the new upcoming show, Cartoon Drag Race Gem's Collection. I'm the host and main judge, Gem. Rainbow has been doing her job and getting me ready. I have to say, we aren't ready just yet. Why don't I just show you why I am the main judge? Let me answer the question of who will win Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 3. No bias, just some good old judging. And yeah, I'm sorry, Rainbow, but yeah, don't worry, I won't hate on Keaton. Shall we begin? Bring out the girls. Let's start with the easiest question. Who has the best track record? As we can see, thanks to Lynn, Harmony and Reiki share the same average. So automatically Keaton doesn't win this question. When it comes to Reiki and Harmony, since they have the same average, I like to consider who has the most consistency, and it's by a sliver. And it's just Harmony by one factor. It's just that she was only been the bottom 2 times. 1 low placement and 1 bottom placement. And Ricky Keaton had 1 low placement and 2 bottom placements. So that's the only reason why I give Harmony the win. I could see Ricky winning as well. It's just a very small nitpick. But if we're to answer the question, Harmony would take the win by just that one little detail. The next thing I want to talk about is what are the drag styles that each competitor has. Starting off with Reiki, he's mainly a comedy queen and dancing queen with good to bad runways on average. Followed by him is Harmony. Harmony's drag I would define as eccentric, a kooky, dry, and very fashionable queen. And finally Keaton. Keaton is a drag queen that I would define a jack of all traits, but a master of none. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, he's not skillful. It's more so I view him as somebody who has multiple talents, but I cannot find one defining thing about him, at least throughout this competition. I like to think that he's mostly punk slash horror vibes. He does have like the scarring. That's what his one of his favorite things to do is have scarring on his face, but also add some horror elements, I would say. And it's kind of hard to define what he is or what he's good at because his inconsistency throughout the whole game is very difficult to pinpoint what kind of queen he is, I would argue. And there's no issue with that. However, when I compare Camilla, a fashion queen, and after that is Kaito, who arguably is somewhat similar to Keaton, as in a queen who can do most things but can't pinpoint the archetype, I feel Keaton falls into the Kaito box by default, just by a bit, and it's kind of very hard to unsee that for me. I feel like if I were gonna crown somebody new, I wish they were more consistent or have won more or have higher placements. That's how I would have felt for it for a moment. That's how I feel about Keaton as a whole. For Reiki and Harmony, I feel like neither fit the mold of Camilla or Kaito. Harmony, you can say she's fashionable like Camilla, but like they're not the same fashion. I would say Camilla is more beauty with sex, and Harmony is more kooky and centric and creative. And if I were to choose between Reiki and Harmony in this sense, this is more biased, unfortunately, because it's by preference. I cannot really be objective, but I personally would like to see Harmony more. I would like to see Harmony's drag more, and I feel like her drag speaks to most people. That's what I would argue. So again, this round, again, it's very nitpicky. It's between Reiki and Harmony. I would give this round to Harmony, just with the caveat as by barely, by just a sliver. Now comes the final and longest part. What are the three's storylines and which one was the best? Let's start with Harmony. Everyone in the cast except for Reiki and Ruby undermined her. The biggest instigator being Linny, who just insulted her in front of everyone, diminished her work, and calls her a favorite queen. Arguably, she didn't have the most in-your-face moments of growth, but it was clear as the competition continued. She was cheering herself when Petra, Marina, and Keaton selected her to be in the bottom two lip sync. It was clear that she will prove her point on the stage. Besides her airheadedness and lax nature, she does get challenged, and specifically by Ruby, where her subtle misunderstanding and honestly lack of foresight harmed Ruby. With their friendship, Ruby's placement, and mental health, the loss of her friend affected Harmony, not only from withdrawing from others, but also being more courteous. A subtle detail I really admire from her is comforting Keaton when Keaton was eliminated, and of course stopping a bit from her rude verse to try and help Marina. My favorite part about her journey is not only proving Petra, Marina, and Keaton wrong, but also some audience members. I feel not only I think her drag is a welcomed addition, I feel like her subtle growth is something that shouldn't be overlooked. And overall, like, she does become more independent. She becomes more sassy, more, I would argue, identify with herself. I would say that she had her moments of insecurity, but I feel like she overcame that when her story came to a conclusion. Next is Keaton, a cutthroat drag queen that has his eyes on the prize for the most part. For the first 5 episodes, he has this ruthless and tough exterior to the point of being emotionless at times, being blunt and rude to those sweet contestants, such as Monita and Ruby. The moment he opens up on episode 6, it was the moment he was rewarded with a win, but also his friendship grew stronger with Petra and Reiki. I would like to say this is truly a moment of adaptability for Keaton. Lilac was, for better words, was hard to work with. But after episode 7, Keaton was eliminated. Arguably, he couldn't keep it together. His inconsistency once again crept up. As a judge, it's something difficult to overlook. I feel Keaton was rushing for the win, and I felt like he was a bit impatient and not taking in the competition before it was too late. It did warm my heart that his bond with Marina and Reiki was there in the end, but I wish his growth was shown more. His soft side really was the best of him. Not only did it show his competitive side well, but also his urge to see others succeed and do well. And for me, I think Reiki's biggest obstacle is something he didn't overcome, and that was his inconsistency. Since like Lilac has pointed out in episode 2, Reiki was very inconsistent, and that was something that Reiki had to deal with 4 times throughout this competition. Episode 2, Snatch Game, the host challenge with Cookie Mama and Candace, and finally the final episode. I would arguably say that Keaton, I feel like as a judge, his inconsistency was still there. I think he didn't overcome it. And I feel like he could have done a better job at some point. And I feel that Keaton's elimination affected his run a bit too much. Pop quiz, everyone. What did Rainbow say about Reiki? That through and through, he was the inverse of Marina. And arguably, I couldn't agree more with that statement. He literally walks in and everyone judges him. From starting off poorly, having 2 bottom placements, to him having the same track record as Marina, to him to be able in Drag Race history, in Cartoon Drag Race history, to win 3 challenges in a row. And the fact that no one has noticed is outrageous to me. Where I find his character growth and arc the most interesting is definitely him embodying the Rinmunity idol. He set up Senora to fail because of it, saved Keaton all 3 times. Remember, the second episode, Reiki said, vote for Keaton. If you're gonna vote for me, vote for Keaton. For the Snatch Game, like I said, he set up Senora to fail and fall on her face and protected Keaton from the bottom 2 against Marina. And then, of course, basically the final episode before the finale, he literally chose Keaton over Marina. And even with that, my favorite part was that everyone was undermining him until the cooking challenge, where Harmony gave him his flowers, where she viewed him as competition. And the way that his brain works on challenges, like, yes, he's not the brightest on that regard, but he's the brightest when it comes to others and when he befriends half the cast. He already befriended Ruby, Beast Boy, Kaden, Harmony, Marina, and, you know, Keaton, who had his walls up for the most of the time. I feel like this man is really the underdog himbo, and is just, like, for me, the epitome of improve as you go and improve as you work on. At least for the most part, his runways were done very well. Like, they started poorly, but then they got increasingly better. And I just think it's so poetic that the final lip sync before the finale was between Petra and Reiki, 2 queens who have lip synced episode 1, and ironically were the winners of the last challenge. That's just brilliant. That's just cinema. That just works for his story. I feel like it comes like a full circle moment. Like, him being the bottom 2, being undermined, and really facing basically the only person left that's still undermining him. That's so clever in his storyline. And with all I said, I have to give Reiki this round. He won for me with flying colors. And now that's all of the facts laid out. And for me, who do I think deserves the crown the most? And for me personally, it has to be Reiki Kain. I feel his story and consistency and how he impacted half the cast in a positive way is just winner material there. That's a true queen behavior in my eyes. And if I were to give the choice of a double crowning, do I think it's suitable? I would say yes, yes, yes. I see Harmony and Reiki as a double winner, underdogs versus everyone else. It's iconic to me. And with that, I think it's now the perfect conclusion to end this video. I want to thank all of you that have watched the Rainbow's reviews, her Nanny Plum reviews. She truly feels blessed, and she just needed help this time. Please check on Twitter for updates on the show, and hopefully next time you see me is behind my panel and meet my queens. Till then, lovelies.
Show's over, Synergy.